Hey YouTube, this is Sean again. Hey, this video is basically a quick help guide on modeling on the cheap. I'm a cheap modeler that is not going to change, and this video is meant to give you maybe a couple things I've picked up, maybe some things that you could look at, something you could think about to help make your modeling experience cheaper. Do more with less. So I want to start that with not necessarily the kits this time, but the things that go with kits, the paint, tools, workplaces. And let's start real quickly with a modeling surface. So I'm going to start with what I would call a inexpensive way of modeling, and that's going to be your surface, which is where am I going to put things? Where am I going to build things? I have a decent sized space here for creating models, and I paid at Walmart, I think I paid maybe $25 for the table. It's a folding table. It's fairly strong. You can see it doesn't wobble very much at all, so it's good and stable, and it holds the things I need it to hold. If you're very poor, you can't afford that. My very first modeling surface here in this apartment was my bed with a small piece of tarp over the bedspread, and I hand painted everything on that tarp, and I folded everything away into a tackle box when I was done. So if you have to, for modeling service, you can literally just do a tarp on the bed. It's not the most ideal situation, but I spent the whole first year of modeling in 2014 doing just that. I built over 50 models that way, so it can be done. Um, I have a cutting board here that's my wife's old cutting board that allows me to cut things with my knife. Um, what do I need bare bones to model? Bare bones. Modeling surface, like I said, technically is optional. I gotta have paint. I gotta have glue. I gotta have something to apply the paint with. And this is my conceit here, but I need something to cut the parts out from the sprues. To me, that is the only thing you really need other than the kit itself to accomplish your goal. Obviously, as you can tell from my modeling table, I have lots more than just that. But really, this is truly all you need to start with. So if you're trying to figure out, I want to get back into modeling, or I want to start modeling, what do I really need? Because I can't just go buy all this tomorrow, because what if it sucks? What if I don't want to do this? What if I don't want, you know, lamps and headpieces and, you know, cleaners and 300 paints and airbrushes that cost $100 a piece, and compressors that cost two. You don't have to have that stuff. You can just start with brushes, paint, glue, and a sprue cutter. So let's go over the bare minimums of how much they can cost and how you can use them. So let's start with glue. If you're as old as I am and you started modeling in the 80s and 90s, you remember a different type of glue. You remember the old glue that came in containers similar to this. This is actually putty, but similar containers to this that were red. And they were horrible. They were sticky. You got all your fingers, and your fingers got stuck to the model, and your fingerprints are all over the model kit, and you're angry. And yeah, not anymore. That's gone. Today we have two types of glue that we're going to really play with, and that's like a CA glue, which is super glue basically, and then we have Tamiya thin cement. This bottle looks nasty because I'm using it. Basically, it comes with an applicator brush, and it sucks into a joint. So if I have two parts that I'm putting together, and I'm just going to take a scrap piece of plastic here. I've got an old Avenger kit that I test paint with. If I'm joining two pieces together, this little edge here in the join, you would brush that right on that join. My finger represents the other piece, and it'll suck into this join, and it will actually glue it solid to one piece. After a short amount of time, it will get real firm and real strong. So another example, this is an aircraft I'm working on right now. It's a Skyray. The join here between these two parts, you can close them together with your fingers, and I can brush it across. I get a nice seal. So I need this type of cement. This can build your whole model kit. It's about, at Hobby Lobby, you can get it for about $5-6. It's a little expensive, but a bottle like this will build many models, so it's worth the cost. That's your first must-have. Your next must-have is I gotta have paint, right? Well, what kind of paint should I get? How should I use them? And what should I start with? Well, let's start with Walmart paint. This is paint you can get at Walmart. This is a 36 ml bottle. It's take you a long time to go through something like this. You'll start off with a 59 ml, a 60 ml bottle, basically, of paint. These are about $1 a piece. I would just start by getting the paint colors you want for your first kit. So maybe, a couple, 2 or 3, paint colors that you want. Get the things that you want and start from there. The paint itself, if you're using a brush paint, I will try to get that in the shot there. As you can tell just by me pouring it out like this, it's thick paint. That is something that will have to be thinned. You can stick your brush in it and paint it, but it will leave very visible brush marks. You're going to want to use thinner, and I recommend that you do your own research on YouTube for a thinner. You can brew your own thinner for scents. Basically, it's isopropyl alcohol, some water, and 1 or 2 other chemicals you can easily buy very, very, very cheaply. Don't be intimidated. Pick it up. Watch some YouTube videos on it. Do it. Trust me on this. This is not a big deal. So you got your paint from Walmart. It's really cheap. Do I have to go out and buy the expensive paints like the Tamiya paint or the Model Master paints, or in this case, my personal favorites, the Vallejo? No. Are you going to want to? Yes. But again, $1, $3. A very small container. I forget how many mils are in a 17 mil bottle versus a 60 mil bottle. It's a no-brainer. And this is much thicker. You'll get much more paint out of it. So, or $3 or $4 for a Tamiya, which is already kind of thin to begin with. So you don't really need these. You can stick with these for your first few kits as you're learning skill and abilities. Brushes. My recommendation here is you don't cheap out on brushes. Do not cheap out. Don't go buy the $1 pack. Buy nicer brushes. Buy 2, 3 nice brushes from Hobby Lobby in their brush section. Get the smaller tips like this one that can do what you're looking to do. 2, 3 brushes. That's all you really need. Hobby knife is optional in my book. I barely use my hobby knife, so I would probably ignore that. Sprue cutters. This is from a feminine hygiene area where, like for nail clippers or stuff like that, they're like $1, and they're great sprue cutters. Buy one. Don't buy the $10 sprue cutters from Hobby Lobby. They'll break in a heartbeat. I have 2 of them over there somewhere, and they're both broke. Expensive paints. This is a $15 aluminum paint from Vallejo. Do you need this? No. Will you want it later? Sure. Airbrush, $150. Does airbrushing look nicer? Absolutely. Do you have to use it? No. Masking. How do I mask paint? And how do I pay to do that? Well, tape. Well, this is blue painter's tape. Is this optimal for you to use? Nope. Can you use it and make a nice kit? Absolutely. You can find this everywhere for dollars. Pair of tweezers. Is it needed? Nope. Is it nice to have? Yep. Again, hygiene aisles, $1. Headlamp, I personally find to be one of my favorite tools. I just bought it. I've been modeling for 3 years now. I just bought it, so clearly not necessary. A handy supply of Q-tips. They're great for cleaning airbrushes. They're great for fixing mistakes or fiddling with decos. Cheap as can be. So really, a couple dollars for paint, maybe $5-10 for your brushes, a couple dollars for sprue cutters and some of that, and you're basically ready to rock and roll. Your biggest expense is going to be your cement. By the way, this I forgot about this. This is CA, and it's basically I use this for very difficult parts that do not want to go together, bombs to bomb racks, things like that. That's my first video in a series of cheap modeling. I hope to do a whole lot more. I just want to thank you for your attention, and I hope you will subscribe, and maybe I can do some better videos in the future. Have a good day.